All right, all right, all right. The Ryan and Jacob Show is live for the Week 3 recap. Another great week from the Old Town Toads. Highest score. Almost got another highest score of the season record. What do you think?
Yeah, your team went off. My team did not do that hot this week, but I pulled out the W against Jimmy. And I'm happy. I'm 3-0. Can't really start off better or worse than that. So I am very happy with my team and how they performed.
Well, you could start off worse than that, but you couldn't start off better than that.
Start better. There you go.
had it right the first time. But, I mean, dude, Lamar Jackson just continues to excel. Even the Ravens taking the loss, still puts up 21. This guy, I don't know. Don't see him slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs' defense isn't that great. I mean, every time they play, it's going to be a shootout with Patrick Mahomes. So I knew that this game wouldn't slow him down. He's got Detroit, I think, next week. Right? No, not Detroit. Cleveland, which has a pretty good front seven. That might be the game that kind of slows him down. But I'm not nervous. I'm not really that.
Yeah, he has been showing out this season. Which is good for you this game because looks like Austin Eckler had a little bit of a down week. I mean, that Houston defense obviously always been solid. Good front seven there. Tough to run against.
Yeah, I mean, 88 points, 88.5 points. Nobody really stood out. I mean, my best guy that I'm very happy with was Darren Waller, my tight end. He had like 13 catches.
He was hauling them in.
He stood out.
He didn't even have a touchdown. Still put up 14 points. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, 13 catches, 134. I mean, that was another late rounder, 183rd overall pick. I'm happy with that, and he's and they're throwing it to him. Derek Carr is throwing it to him, but everybody else, very mediocre. Kenny Golladay, I don't know what happened to him. I was watching that game too.
A very favorable matchup there. Was surprised to see that he did so poorly.
Marvin Jones just got all those catches.
I'm in a lot of daily lineups, so it kind of screwed me up. But another mediocre performance from Odell. Baker Mayfield's not doing him any favors, but that Browns offensive line is atrocious.
Yeah, Michael Thomas with his first touchdown. But, I mean, I was actually nervous because he has Jarvis and I have Odell. I mean, I was only winning by like 8 points. And if Jarvis had a big game and Odell had a bad game, that could have easily went Jimmy's way. But they both kind of stunk.
Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty solid week. I mean, nothing outstanding, but I mean, he just put up kind of some consistent numbers. I mean, Rex Burkhead had a great week. It was an interesting call for him to start 2 Patriots running backs here.
Both got touchdowns.
But they did both get touchdowns. Unfortunately, Sony Michel didn't do much other than that.
After his like 1 yard touchdown. And like in the first quarter, too, I was nervous because Sony got that touchdown. I was like, oh, God, here we go. But other than that, he had like 10 carries for 19 yards with the touchdown.
Yeah, that Denver defense kept the Packers offense at bay. They did most of their work on the ground with Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. Jimmy's got 2 tight ends and 2 Patriots running backs. That's a tough lineup to win with, but you know what? He was not that far off.
He was not at all.
So
and the Green Bay Packers defense did pretty well too.
They did. 13. They've been pretty good this year. They've definitely been a little bit surprising. I think they're kind of shocking everyone with being a little bit better than they were projected to be.
All right, so going to the next game, the big game, Old Town Toads, 143. Oh. What do you have? About 3 points? You would have beat your record. What was the record? 146.
146-ish. If I just would have played my my tight end on the bench there, Will Dissly, over OJ Howard, which I switched right before game time. I would have beat it. Would have put up 149. But you know what? I'm not gonna fret over that. I'm super happy with the squad with the 143. Keenan Allen, Christian McCaffrey, and Russell Wilson pretty much put the team on their backs. But just an outstanding week. Nelson Aguilar had me nervous at the beginning, but He's
Yeah, a couple
basically, I
drop
think,
passes.
the only receiver playing for the Eagles at that game. So, pretty solid game from him. Didn't really have a choice but to throw to him. So, I'm glad he got a couple touchdowns.
You know, it's crazy that I'm just noticing this. 7 out of the 9 players you started, all like their team lost.
Yep.
That's
Didn't
pretty
matter to
crazy.
me.
Russell Wilson, 43 fantasy points, and he lost to the Saints. Keenan Allen lost to the Texans. That was pretty shocking. I thought the
was a
Chargers were
good
going to
game,
get that
though.
one. Yeah, very good game. And so was the Bucks and Giants.
Yep, that
was
late
a very
Daniel
good
Jones rushing touchdown was awesome. I feel bad for Dom. His team did great this week, put up 105. You know, you absolutely is a gut wrencher to put up triple digits and lose. We've all been there before. And then I knew watching that Sunday night game, watching Cooper Kupp go ham bones was probably just a dagger too. It's just like, oh man, I hate to be on that side of things. I'm super happy I won, but you know, I feel Dom's pain on this one because this team did great.
I mean, Kamara, Kupp got the 20s. Wentz had a pretty good game, though the Eagles lost. That was another good game to watch. We had a lot of good football games this week, but there's nothing he could have done. Just like, you just blew him out of the water.
Yeah, it's just the Toads, man. We had
It's just hard to do.
we had one down week and we bounced back pretty good. So hopefully it's not going to be like a up here, down here, up here, like roller coaster of a season. I'm hoping we can at least stay consistent here. So
All right, so
next
we're gonna go
matchup,
Chewy and Johnny.
Chewy
Another
and Johnny.
Pretty close guy, not really. I mean, this actually. So Chewy had a very good week, 109.
Definitely a good
Watson.
week.
Watson went off. I mean, Dalvin Cook is looking like the best running back in the league right now.
Oh, he is tearing it up if he can stay healthy. You know, and I hate to wish injuries on anybody, but I do have Dalvin Cook's handcuff, so maybe if he wants to sit out for a week just to get those legs a little rest, go for it, dude, you know?
I mean, Frank Gore was a great play. I mean, we've all kind of know, if you're listening to this podcast, Chewy struggles with playing the right guys. Frank Gore was a great play instead of Montgomery. I mean, it was only 6 points, but I mean, that could have easily dictated the game. His tight end situation is looking a little bleak. Vance McDonald and TJ Hawkinson. Hawkinson had that big week 1. Hasn't done crap since.
Yeah.
So that might be a point of emphasis for his team.
Well, that Vance McDonald play, I probably would have went the same direction with that. It looked like in that first game that Mason Rudolph came in for Big Ben. It looked like they had a pretty solid connection. So I was surprised to see Vance. And that was another guy I had in a lot of daily lineups. Surprised to see him do so terrible. So, but a decent ass week from Chewy. I mean, triple digits, like we said, that's always awesome. And then we got on the other side here, we got Johnny Peppers, who inside sources tell me that he fell asleep and didn't quite wake up in time to switch out James White, who was having a kid, and congratulations out to him. Hopefully he hears this for that birth of his child. But yeah, it was unfortunate to see Johnny throw that goose egg out, a guaranteed goose egg from someone that wasn't on the field, when he has some people down here on the bench that would have been a great filler. But otherwise, Johnny had a pretty solid week. I mean, 86 points with the absence of a flex is pretty good.
I mean, Dak, we kind of talked about Dak replacing Breeze last podcast, and he did pretty well, 22. Edelman without AB now probably be a number 1 wide receiver, at least a high number 2 receiver. Austin Hooper did well. I was watching that Colts game. 2 touchdowns there.
Doing great.
But one thing I do want to point out just right now is we're going to give Chewy the minigame win, just because if, let's say, Johnny would have replaced him with Marvin Jones, who had 16, his highest on the bench, he still would have lost. So we're going to keep that win with Chewy. Just so you guys know, I know 3 people picked Johnny, which was Ryan, I think Lubasi, and James. So we're going to give you guys those losses because of that reason solely. Just to throw that in there.
Yeah, let's make sure we get our lineup set, you know. Peppers.
And I fall asleep at 1 o'clock. That's a pretty late wake up time.
You probably had a rough night, you know. I was happy to see Derrick Henry come back down to earth and put up some numbers I expected from a 10-point week.
Hey, 10's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's not those ridiculous numbers he was putting up at the beginning that was making me look bad for saying I didn't like him.
Another touchdown. Hey, 17 carries. That's pretty good. As long as he's getting touches, he's gonna get the goal line touches. I'm starting to be a believer in Derrick Henry.
I'm not convinced yet, but
I
definitely
think that he's gonna keep his touches up.
Definitely good game here. Would have been a lot closer if Johnny would have played that player. But like you said, he would have lost regardless. So good week from Chewy. Nice work. We'll move on to James and Rudy. Another good week from Mr. Thomas Brady, who I was pretty down
this was
on at the beginning of this year.
High-scoring game.
Yes, it was. Very close.
Very high.
I mean, not close, but close as in 2 very high scores here. Mark Ingram was just absolutely slaying those TDs.
Stealing all my touchdowns, at least for Lamar.
Yeah. This dude was end zone or bust. 3 touchdowns. You love to see that as a fantasy owner. Especially when you got your other running back with a 3.7.
Yeah, his first week he had 2 touchdowns, and then 0, and then 3. So he's a lot. I mean, he's average yards per carry. Mark Ingram was a good pick. I like him right now.
He was.
James Conner, on the other hand, not so much.
He is not looking like the pick that he was drafted at. I think he was a first-round pick.
7th pick, I think.
11th overall from James. Not been putting up great numbers. Now, granted, they are without their quarterback, so people are probably stacking that box. But, man, you just hate to see a first-round guy putting up numbers like that.
Yeah, and he's talking about how he likes his. We were actually texting, I think, a couple days ago, and he likes Julio Jones. He likes Brandon Cooks. He's looking for a running back. So if you guys have any trade opportunities, he's looking for a running back with Connor and Miles Sanders always being kind of iffy. But he has some good bench options. I mean, Sterling Shepard came back, and he actually looked pretty well with Daniel Jones under center.
Yeah, he sure did. Put up great numbers. And, hey, I mean, the guy still put up 132 points with James Conner putting up a 3.7, so you definitely can't be mad about that. Now, on the other side of this, an 0-3 team, and this is like the 3rd time I've said this now, and it's fucking triple digits and taking a loss. That's just like a swift kick to the nards, man. That sucks. Rudy had a great week.
I mean, what lost it to him? Calvin Ridley, 0.6.
Yeah, he could have had a lot more. He was definitely not playing football, that's for sure.
With McCoy at 20, you go Robinson at that wide receiver and put McCoy on that flex. Easy dub.
Yeah, but you know, hindsight's 20/20.
It is.
That's tough.
But I mean, Mahomes had a great week. Mixon actually did something this week, which it took him long enough since I think he was a first-round pick. Yeah, 12th overall pick.
Yeah, he's had some injury stuff.
Against a pretty stingent Buffalo D. They're a very underrated team this year. I think they're 3-0. Play the Pats this week. That's going to be a really good game to keep an eye on just for NFL reasons.
Yeah, and then we got Mike Evans over here. He had 3 touchdowns, stealing them off from Chris Godwin. I saw one where Chris Godwin had it in his hands. He just ripped it out, and they gave the touchdown to Mike Evans. It's like, wow. All right.
Mike Evans. Another slow starter. 2-6, and then 37. Rudy's been patient with these guys. And I mean, he just went against a wall in James this week, but Rudy's team is kind of looking a little bit more dangerous if he can figure out a couple more starters. But I mean, Mahomes, you have a Grant, I mean, 25 for sure, 20 to 25 pointer for sure. And with Mike Evans and Mixon, if they kind of start playing to their ability, this team isn't looking half bad.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny he had a great week, and yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see that looking forward. Let's move to probably maybe the biggest upset, definitely the biggest upset of the season so far. Maybe the biggest upset we'll see this year. Chris over Lubasi here. I think Lubasi thought he had this thing in the bag. I think a lot of people thought Lubasi had this thing in the bag going into Monday night. But no one could have predicted that Bears defense. Well, maybe me and my other fellow Bears fans could have predicted that Bears D dropping that 20-pointer and Mitch Trubisky just tossing dimes all night like a change machine.
Yeah, Barkley got hurt that game. He's going to be out for 4 to 8 weeks. Adam Thielen had had a good game. But yeah, Tribby and Bears D just saved him.
Yeah,
he was down by like 18, maybe even more than that. Probably like 35 or something.
Oh yeah, Lubasi definitely thought he had this one. I'm sure he saw Barkley go down. He was probably pretty geeked about that. And then saw his point lead going into this game, thinking he probably had it. Thinking, oh, I'll just watch the first quarter of this game. It'll be over by then. No siree. No siree,
Pick
Bob.
6 to start the game, wasn't it?
Haha, Clinton Dix, baby.
Pick 6. Start the game. I think the first drive, I tuned into the game a little late, so I don't know if that's true, but once I saw that, I was like, wow, Lubasi actually might lose this game.
Yeah, Lubasi said he threw up as soon as Clinton Dix crossed the threshold of the end zone, but I don't know if that's true or not. It was a good game to watch, and it was crazy to see Chris come back and take this thing. I know Lubasi had to be absolutely disgusted because he had a pretty good week.
Yeah, I got to hand Lubasi. McCole Hardman, I think that was his last pick of this year, and he has been going off. That was a good start. Good handcuff from Tyreek.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's too bad that he didn't listen to your advice last week, though, on Stephon Diggs and maybe throw Valdez-Scantling in there because he would have won.
Yeah, as you guys know, last week I told everybody about Stephon Diggs. I was worried about him, and I told Lubasi, and he even, I don't know if you guys read the comments in the YouTube videos, but he was like, "Oh, I'm not worried about Diggs. He had 7 targets, only 1 catch." I'm like, all right, man, and then he did not do anything. And then MVS went off for a touchdown. I think in the first quarter, I think that was Aaron Rodgers' first touchdown pass for 40 yards. And I've been giving him shit all today and all yesterday night. He wasn't trying to hear it.
Yeah. Maybe gonna have to bench Stephon Diggs and look at other options. And also maybe drop a defense. Just throwing that out there too.
I do want to point this out. He had another great defensive pick, 14 points for the Patriots. I mean, we all know the Jets stunk, and that was probably going to happen. But his defenses have to be outscoring some people's running backs. I mean, just great plays.
Well, when you got 3 of them to choose from, which I think 3 other people have that as well. You're bound to have at least one team that's going to do well out of that, but maybe drop one, maybe trade one to your friend or something. I don't know, just throwing stuff out there. But now we'll get to the last game of the week here, where Matty B, Hopkins lymphoma, was trying to come for my high season score over here.
Yeah, this game wasn't that close at all.
No.
It wasn't that great. I don't think I watched this game at all, but he had a good week. I mean, Philip Lindsay finally did something. He's been sharing Royce Freeman's carries, and he actually kind of went off this week. Not a big week from DeAndre Hopkins either, and Matt still did that, which is pretty impressive.
No, I mean, he really had a pretty balanced week from his whole team. I know I picked Joey to win this game. I don't know that a lot of people picked Matt. I don't think a lot of people saw this coming, but man, a fantastic week. You can't deny that. Jameis Winston's just tearing up that Giants defense. He had a really good week. Fournette's kind of just been pretty mediocre all year.
Just
But, you know, a great week. Smith-Schuster had a solid touchdown run that I saw, and
only 3 catches, though. That's another guy I'm worried about. 3 catches with Mason Rudolph. I have him in my other league, so I feel you're paying that, but
yeah, that Big Ben injury was brutal for him, for sure.
Evan Ingram did well, too, 17.3.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Lockett cashing some dimes from my boy Russ. Can't be mad about that.
That was a fun game to watch. I watched that Saints Seahawks. That was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, the Saints came out hot early, and the Seahawks were basically just battling back that whole game. And
that's why
damn it, they almost made it happen.
But yeah, going to Joey's team, I mean, Amari Cooper, we kind of knew somebody was going to have a big day against that Miami secondary, and it was Cooper. I should have picked him in dailies, but I thought he was a little too expensive. But nothing really else to kind of write home about. Matt Ryan did well. Just an average
Le'Veon Bell had a tough matchup versus a Patriots defense and a starting quarterback out again. So that was to be expected. Nick Chubb going against a pretty good Rams D. Honestly, 13 points is pretty solid against them. But another great week in the books.
Yeah, that was a fun week. Couple close matchups. A lot of high-scoring games this week. A lot of hundreds. Couple people were happy. Couple people not so happy with the hundreds. But very good week. Very fun week. I'm glad I pulled the dub out.
Yep, we got 2 undefeated teams left between Chris and you. So.
Yeah, and speaking of undefeated teams, kind of goes back to our outlook for next week. Our decision this week was to put Dom and Chris as the game of the week. We have a 3-0 Chris versus a 2-1 Dom. And, you know, I was kind of talking to Chris this week, kind of today and yesterday, about his team and just how he's going to go forward with Barkley out 4 to 8 weeks, and then Antonio Brown probably is never going to play football ever again. And he got a couple answers for me. He's hoping to have Barkley out for 6 weeks and go 3-3 in those weeks. So I mean, 6-3, halfway point. That's pretty good. That's not bad. And then to get Barkley back after that, he should be pretty fine. But I asked if he was gonna drop Antonio Brown. That was one of my questions to him. And he said not this week, or he's waiting for someone to be in the waiver wire that he likes enough. I think he still thinks Antonio might play, but I don't know if he's going to play.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound like it, but honestly, with that guy, you really never know.
I think he just started taking classes back at Central Michigan.
He did. He might see if he can suit up for them this year, maybe.
Suit up for the game. Suit up for some college games. But, I mean, I also talked to Dom a little bit about the game. Oh, and one thing Chris wanted me to add was he thinks Marlon Mack and Tyler Boyd are going to carry him the rest of the way. That's the 2 people he's going to try to lean on heavily, which kind of makes sense. Those 2 are probably his best. I mean, he got Adam Thielen, but you kind of expect him to kind of, I think, do the top 2 or second-round pick. But I mean, yeah. I asked Dom about the week. He says he's excited. He's interested to see how Chris goes forward. But he's really liking Cooper Kupp after that monster game. I mean, hopefully he doesn't shatter this week against, I mean, I guess he's going against the Buccaneers, but that secondary kind of stinks.
Hey, now. That's my defense you're talking about.
I mean, Jared Goff should do that, or should kind of go off, but he's thinking his flex position's still open. He's got Chris Thompson in there right now. I don't know why he's not high on Chris Carson right now. He's got him on the bench.
Yeah, he's had a couple rough weeks, fumble issues. Yeah,
he was slipping a lot in that game last week. I don't know if it was raining in Seattle before the game and during the game.
He had a great week 1 and kind of fallen off since then. So I don't know. It's a tough call. And I mean, you got Darius Geis on the IR, so it's Chris Thompson and an AP show back there in the Redskins backfield.
Yeah, that's a good pickup because Ubasi had his IR spot taken from Hill, so he had to drop Geis, and Dom swooped him up, which was a pretty good pickup. But the last thing I want to say, or what Dom said to me, he's thinking Marlon Mack will have a big week this week for Chris's team, so he's going to watch Marlon Mack closely, but he thinks he's going to pull this off, and he's projected to beat him by 5. I think it's going to be a close game. This might be the first 3, or this might be one of the 3-0 teams kind of faltering. I'm probably going to pick Dom this week just because Chris is just injury riddled right now.
Yep, and this is our first week with some bye week teams. 49ers and Jets out, so that's always makes things a lot more strategic when you start throwing the bye week cards in there. So it'll be interesting to see how people handle those.
Yep, so this is the game of the week. I'm going down. Who do you think you're going with, Rye?
I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than we think. I'm not sure if Mitch Trubisky can have as good of a week as he did versus the Redskins. I mean, I definitely hope he can. He's a Bears guy. But I don't know. I think that Jamal Williams play might be a little sneaky. He's getting a pretty good chunk of the carries in that Green Bay backfield. I think Chris has a shot here, but I'm probably going to be leaning Dom as well. I mean, that's just with you losing Saquon Barkley, it's tough. It's tough when you're playing a team that's still at full strength and also has Alvin Kamara. So that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game too. This might be an upset alert. I mean, I feel like Dom, or a lot of people are going to go with Dom, but Chris might pull it off.
I think it's going to be a really close game. I do. But I think Dom may just edge him out slightly. I think.
All right, so this is the next game we'll talk about is my game versus James. This was another game of the week option. We ultimately went with Chris and Dom. I don't know if James has his lineup set, but I am projected to destroy him by 16 right now.
Yeah, he's got his kicker on a bye.
Kicker on a bye, okay. But yeah, this is gonna be a good game. I think me and James are top 3 in points for. I think you're first by about 4 points, then me, then James. So this is gonna be a good game. This should be a high scoring game. I'm looking forward to this matchup. This is gonna be one of my toughest opponents right now, or as of now. So it's gonna be a fun week. I'm gonna keep an eye on James's players, and I'm pretty excited for this game.
Yeah, that should definitely be a good one. I think it'll definitely be close. Hopefully James Conner can step up. Looks like I draw Joey this week. Pretty good week to get him with Le'Veon Bell on a bye. Projected to win by 22 points. So
yeah, he's still got Bell on in the lineup.
Right. Well, we'll see who he throws in there to replace him. But I'm hoping that my team can stay consistent this week and I can pull out this dub because I think I'm definitely
another guy with
set
3
up for
defenses.
Success. Yeah. So Joe, if you want to drop a defense, you, Lubasi, I mean anybody out there with 3 defenses that's thinking maybe I should cut one of these loose, maybe I should send them over to the Old Town Toads. Hit me up. Looking for a defense.
All right, so the next game we'll kind of look at is Chewy and Jimmy. Jimmy's actually projected to win here by 3.8 points.
Projection.
You got a Thursday game in Aaron Rodgers. That's a bit. Oh, and Devontae Adams, since he's got that connection. I don't know. Has Devontae Adams gotten a touchdown this year?
Maybe week 1.
He has not.
He has not.
He has not.
No. I was gonna say, I know the last couple weeks he has not. He's been pretty much stifled. But he has also played some pretty solid defenses. I think this Philadelphia defense is probably going to be, still a good defense, but probably most susceptible he's seen yet, so maybe this is the week that it happens. I don't know.
Yeah, we always want to talk about that QB wide receiver, and it just hasn't happened for Jimmy yet. But I think if he stays patient, I think this week might be the week. I think I picked Jimmy this week. I don't know, I just like Chewy's team, but just those top three names always gets me going. But then the other three, I'm like, or the other 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, Sammy Watkins is just getting completely overshadowed by those 2 young guys.
After that week 1, it's just kind of downhill.
Yeah, but this will be a good one to watch. I think this will be a really close game too. Then we got, oh wow, we got Johnny and Rudy.
Oh.
Rudy projected to win by 0.4.
Yep.
Wow, that is about as dead even split as you can get there.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy's team, I said this earlier in the podcast, I think they're going to start getting a little scary if Mike Evans and Joe Mixon can start. I mean, Kerryon Johnson also has been pretty down. Everyone thought he was going to kind of take off with the Lions, and he has yet to kind of show his worth. 1.8 average last game, 20 carries, and only gaining not even 2 yards per carry. That is not that good.
Yeah, a lot of red on that bench there for Rudy, so it definitely looks like he's dealing with some injuries, kind of all over the place.
Yeah, this should be a good game, though. I mean,
a really good one, yeah. Dak versus Pat Mahomes. I think that'll be a solid match.
No, that's the Saints.
No, I just meant in this particular fantasy matchup.
Yeah. I think those are the top 2 quarterbacks, if I'm not mistaken. Holmes being
right.
number 1 and Dak being number 2, so that's going to be a battle of the quarterbacks. But it should be a good game. Projections are really close. Probably the closest we'll ever see. 0.4. That's pretty hard to get closer than that.
Yeah, that's we got a lot of close projections this week, so should be a fun week to watch. Be a tough week to pick though for the mini game.
Yep.
So then we'll move to the last one. Which we got Lubasi versus Matt. Lubasi.
I think Lubasi is the worst, not the worst bye week for him, but is getting hit by the bye week the worst with a couple 49er people. You have Kittle and Breida. Breida actually looked pretty good last week.
He did. Oh, he's finally got Stephon Diggs out of the lineup, though. Did you see that? Oh, man.
Got MVS in there.
He has had enough. And you know what's going to happen this week? Stephon Diggs is going to get 2 touchdowns.
Against the Bears? Probably not. I think that's a good sit by him.
No, definitely.
But I think I got Matt this week. His team is looking very well suited. What's his projected 95? I think I picked Matt this week.
Bossy projected 76 with 2 open spots. Not bad. If he can get some good replacements in there for his people, maybe drop a defense, I think he might be poised to give Matt a run for his money here. So we'll definitely see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm probably gonna be leaning Matt as well, unless maybe Lubasi drops a defense or something, and then maybe I'll lean the other way. But yeah, definitely a good week ahead. A lot of close projections, so like I said, it's gonna be a tough week to pick for the minigame, but it'll be a fun week to watch.
Yeah, speaking of the minigame, we can go to the minigame standings.
Yeah,
our first 5 for 5.
We didn't think it was gonna happen this soon. We were just talking about this last week.
But Joey got it. But Matt, if Chris would have lost, so if Lubasi would have won, Matt would have had it. So whoever would have won against Chris and Lubasi, somebody would have got 5 for 5. I think Matt was texting Ryan later Sunday. Is that right about it?
He was. He thought he had it locked up. He might have been more confident than Lubasi that Lubasi was winning that game. And until Monday night happened, I'm sure Matt was probably almost just as upset.
Yeah, and Joey pulled it off with the 5 for 5. I mean, that's the first one. of the year. I'm sure we're going to see a couple more, but a couple bad starts or bad weeks for Chewy. Chewy only got 1 point this week, and Jimmy only got 1 point this week too, so they did not pick well this week.
Hey, they almost went 5 for 5 too, just in the wrong direction.
Opposite. Yeah, now we're going to be saying who's going to be the first 0 for 5.
Well, Lubasi's made a pretty good run at it with a 1, and then a 2. He's definitely going for red more than green here.
Yeah, he's definitely the worst one so far. But, I mean, just to wrap this up, just going down the list, so Ryan has 8 points. I have 7 points. Lubasi has a measly 4 points. Rudy has 7. Matt has 8. Dom has 8. A lot of 8s. Johnny has 8. Jimmy has 5, so he's not really that close from Lubasi. Joey has leading the pack with 11, first double digits, and I think the only double digits. Chris has 7. Chewy has 8. James has 9. So a lot of 8s, a lot of 9s, 7s. I think if you average it out, it's about 7.5. The spread did a 4 out of 6 this week, and they have a 10 total, but that's just for my curiosity there.
Yeah, this is definitely staying close, kind of like we thought it would, minus a few people lagging behind there, Lubasi and Jimmy. They both had 2 weeks with 1 point, so that's tough. But, I mean, this game, it could change so fast. Like, all you need is one guy to get a 1 for 5 and you to get a 5 for 5, and you're right back in the running. So, I definitely like the way this is shaping up, and I think this is going to be exciting as we get more through the season.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. Like you said, more through the season, numbers are going to get closer and farther away. It's going to be a fun game.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up the Week 3 recap. It was a great week, and we're definitely looking forward to our Week 4 here. Got a lot of close games on the slate. So, good luck to everybody out there. Get your picks in for the mini game, and hey, Johnny, set your lineup today, maybe. I don't know. Just a thought. And Lubasi drop a defense, All right, guys.
Peace.